My Love of Life Energy is a podcast created by Anna Scott. Anna knows that every human being sees life uniquely. In this podcast, she will talk to people and learn from them. These conversations are to shine the brilliance of each human being she speaks to. Join her. After each exploration, you will expand on your insights and see truth and beauty. Good morning, good afternoon, and welcome to my podcast, My Love of Life Energy. And today, I have the great honor and humbled by having Jason Jackson with me, who's an interior designer. And I met Jason 8 years ago, I think, 9 years ago. And he has blessed me in my life beyond my imagination. People who know me know that I'm a black and white aesthetic, and he's the one who came up with the idea of doing two tones black, and it still works how many years later. The thing that I love about Jason is he's the kindest man that I've ever met in my life and has showed me how to treat people and humanity. And with that, it's an honor to have you, Jason.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for having
me. I'm so curious, Jason. You're an interior designer, and yet you're so much more for people. You are such a steward of humanity and caring for people. And I'm wondering how that shows up in your design business.
Yeah, that's really the core of what it is, and it's hard to explain or really talk about it sometimes, or at least paint the picture so that people can really understand how it works, because it seems a little bit out there. But all my clients have just come to me and have fallen in my lap for some way or reason, and I really am honored and grateful and blessed to just become a part of their lives. Most of the clients that I've worked with for 4 to 5 years, and they all swear they're never going to let me go. But it shows up, it shows up in ways that it's just really fascinating. I mean, I have this ability to kind of get myself into the family in a way that's non-abrasive or non-threatening, and really get to know everybody in the family and help them live their lives differently. I mean, our homes and our environments really affect our health and how we feel about ourselves and how we interact with people, and our spaces sometimes really just work against us. And I have some sort of, I guess, gift or skill set that allows me to just get into these families' lives, and it's okay, and they open up and they allow me to just change the way they live. And I know one client, well, I won't go there at this particular moment, but it almost seems like that I'm not there for the interior design project.
Say more about that. I mean, I've heard you talk about that. And I know my experience is when you get into my presence, or you and I are together, I know that my life feels better by having you around.
That's an awesome compliment. Thank you. Wow. All the clients that I've worked with, I had a few years ago, I had 3 clients that I was doing, they were working with them at the same time. And all 3 of them gave this feedback to me separately, and none of them know each other. They're like, hey, I don't believe you came to us for this interior design project. One person's mother was going through cancer treatment, and we helped move her out of her condo and build a new ADU for her under her son's house. Another client just was having some friction and some rupturing with her husband and their relationship a little bit. And then I had another client who actually lost a child, and all of them said, hey, I don't think you were here for the design project. And I was like, kind of taken back. The first person said it, but then when all 3 of them said it, I was just like, whoa, what is this? And I just feel like that we all go through things, and we all have our stuff, and sometimes we just need someone to hold space for us. You know, I mean,
Mm.
I certainly wasn't counseling these folks on these particular problems they were having. I wasn't trying to, you know, offer any sort of psychiatric or even consoling about. We never really talked about what was going on in their lives. But I think that just sometimes people need a project to focus on, and they need someone to kind of help shepherd that project. And that's kind of really what I look at myself as an interior designer. It's not really an interior designer. I'm shepherding a new life for these folks, and that's a unique position to be able to play in. Honestly, it's go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, you just said something, Jason, that you need people to hold space.
Yeah,
Sometimes people need to hold space, but what I think is interesting, it's like a double entendre, that you're creating the space, but really you're holding the space and creating the space at the same time.
right. Yeah, that's an interesting parallel there. Yeah, I yeah, the holding space thing, and then the space that nurtures us is they work together, and yeah, I don't know how to kind of explain it. It's one of those hard things to really articulate, but sometimes we all just need something to focus on, and we need to get us away from our lives. And then once we realize that we focus on this project, we realize that our life worked out in the meantime. So it's almost like, you know, at the end of the project, when the project's done, what they were going through has already worked itself out. And by distracting themselves with, you know, this other project, it all just works out. And to be a part of that, and to understand that, you know, I can just help be a part of that process, is just it's totally changed my life. It's really uh, caused an awakening in me of what I need to do and what my purpose is, and that feels really good. And that's been the biggest shift.
How has it impacted you?
Oh, it's totally. I mean, you know, I met you 8 years ago, and I was totally different than I am now, and I have grown so much. And I think the key to life for all of us, or our responsibilities for life, I think, is to really just get in touch with ourselves, learn to love ourselves, and understand what our purpose is in this world. And I was listening to a recorded article out of the New York Times, and they were the name of the article was "Why Do Americans Treat People So Bad?"
Hmm.
And they went and they looked, and they, you know, went down these different avenues, and they compared us to, you know, European countries, and what had changed there and what had not changed here, and they came down to morals. And they also went back and told the stories about how people have tried to teach morals over the years, that there's been these etiquette classes and all these programs that have tried to teach people morals, but you can't teach people morals, was what they realized. And the sum of the article was that in order to create morality, people have to be encouraged and taught to go and be with themselves and understand themselves, love themselves, and understand their purpose. And when that happens, they create their own moral compass.
Hmm.
And that's the key. You know, we have to get in touch with ourselves. We have to know who we are. And over the last few years, I've really done the work that I've needed to do. I'm sure I have a lot more to do. Of course, we're always growing, but I have purpose, and it feels good. And life changes when you have purpose, because that's what our jobs. I believe that's what the essence of living is that we all have our gifts to give, and we're supposed to get up every day and give our gifts to the world. And through giving of these gifts, we receive a life of abundance. And I think that's really how it all works.
I would agree.
Yeah, I wonder where I got that from.
I wonder where that came from. I
Yeah.
wonder where that came. And what happened to you when you discovered your purpose? How, like, has it unfolded, and what have you seen in your life differently because of it?
One thing, all the things I thought I needed, I didn't. You know, I had all these big plans and stuff for my life, that these schedules and things that need to be done at certain ages, and if I didn't do that, then I wasn't on track. And I realized that that's all just made up. And
Hmm.
you know, you kind of relax into knowing that, you know, I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing right now. And that's a major, I mean, I'm sure I can speak for a lot of people, but that's a major thing that happens, a narrative that happens in all of us. You know, we're all in this race to do this, this, and this, and to, you know, achieve these things by this particular date. And it's like, when you don't have to worry about that, your mind just can fill up with so many other things. You know, it's just easier. life is just easier. And I don't know anybody that couldn't could not benefit from just life being easier. And then there's just the love for myself, and the appreciation for what I do bring to the table, which allows me to give more of who I am. And well, when you give to other people and they're receptive of it, it's a beautiful thing. So yeah, it just makes the whole life just run a little bit better.
I'm so curious, how did you get to see that you didn't have to have deadlines or have to have anything outside of you?
Um, well, I did a lot of work with some great people, you included. And just through a lot of training and learning and meditation and sitting quietly with myself.
Mm.
You just have to slow down a little bit and give yourself a little time. I mean, it's so interesting that when I share what I've been doing and share the successes that I've had with other people in my life who might need to look at some opportunities for themselves, people get so baffled by taking 5 or 10 minutes to themselves a day. Like it seems like it's almost impossible. I don't have time to do that. Well, wow, I'm so glad that I live in a world that I have time for myself and I make time for myself.
Say more about that. I can feel when you're talking about it, Jason, I feel what's the word? How luxurious that is.
Yeah, it is. It it came to me, the thing that really kind of just set it down for me was an Uber driver that was taking me to the airport to go home for Christmas 2 years ago. And I was in so much stress. I was late. What I was going through with work, I just pushed myself to the limit. And I got in the car and I was like, okay, I'm not going to tell you to rush, but I'm late. And he put me at such ease. He's like, don't worry about it. We're going to get you there. It's going to be fine. Just sit back and relax and I'll take care of it. And he puts on some music. We're driving. About 5 minutes into the drive, he goes, you have to fill your own cup first. And I mean, I hadn't explained anything about what was going on in my life. I hadn't told him anything. He just said simply, you have to fill your own cup first. And it just clicked. And then, it just came from out of nowhere. And I knew that was the message I needed to hear. And it's true. You have to fill your own cup first, because we're all such wonderful, loving souls who have so much to give each other, that if we just fill our own cup first, we can do that a whole lot better than we do when we try to, just do everything at once and do too much and overextend ourselves. And it's just not the right way to go about this world. Yeah.
So I for people who are going to listen to this, because that's such a beautiful saying, and how do you fill your cup? What does that mean to you?
Well, for me, it's taking that time for myself. So in the mornings I get up, and before I even look at a phone or, try like plug into this world, I go out to the garden and I work in my garden. I have my coffee. I will, if I'm doing exercise that day, I'll go ride my bike. I'll do something. And it's, a couple hours after I get up before I even check in with the world. And it just allows me that time to just be with myself and just be comfortable and easy. And it took a little while to get there, because it was hard for me to, allow myself that. But then it was also too, it was hard for the rest of the world to realize that, hey, this man doesn't answer his phone until 11 o'clock in the morning, and, because that can be kind of hard when you work for yourself. My contractor texts me at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and says, good morning all the time. So it's, yeah, that's his joke for me. But, now that everybody's kind of used to it and accustomed to it, it's, no one's upset about it. And I still get everything done that I need to get done. And it allows me that time to just have some perspective and think about what's happening in my life. And when you think about it, it changes. When you give something attention, it works. When, out in the garden, if I water those things and look at them every day, I can tell you whether they're healthy or not. And that's why everything does well. I'm just looking at it every day. And that's what you're doing when you're spending time with yourself and quieting yourself. You're looking at yourself every day and saying, hey, where am I? What do I want to do? What's important to me? And I can't
Okay.
think of a better thing to start the day with, you know?
I've never heard it put that way. And the sense of, but what's interesting, Jason, is what I'm hearing in the way that you're looking at yourself is you're looking at yourself not from judgment. You're just looking at yourself from just a true, honest, how am I? Like looking at a plant, oh, you need this or you need that. Like there's no sky is falling. It's just an honest assessment.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Is that true?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Just gotta look at yourself, see what you need, and then
Mm,
give it to it, you know?
mm. In what ways? And I the reason why I'm harping down this because I can see this is why you're such a uh, so life-giving for your clients is because you can listen to yourself and give you what you need. You can listen to other people and give them what they need.
Of course. No, it's good. When we're not taking care of ourselves, the distraction is all these things going on in the back of our minds of like what we need to get done or what we need to do or the things that are not working for us, right? And that's, you can't help someone. You can help other people. You can be a good servant to, whatever audience that you serve, if you don't do this, but you can't do it as well as you can if you take care of yourself first. But once that chatter disappears in your mind and in your own being, then it's like a funnel, something has to go in, right? And whatever you make room for or whatever gets the most poured into it is what gets through the funnel, right? And when you take all your chatter and your stuff out, you've got so much to give everybody else. It's it's just exponential what you can do once you've taken care of yourself,
Mm, mm.
and how much easier it is when we think it's so hard. We can't find that 5 or 10 minutes, but 5 or 10 minutes can turn into an hour. Once you get into practice.
An hour could turn into a couple hours,
Yeah,
right?
totally. It can be 2 o'clock and people are telling you good morning.
Mm.
Yeah.
And how did you speak more about the chatter in your head? Say more about that.
Well, we all have it. It all comes out. It comes out for different people, different ways. But one of the things that I learned to do out of a book called The Artist's Way, and I didn't finish that whole book. I really read the first chapter about journaling, and that's all I did. But it gave the suggestion that you get up every morning and you write in a journal whatever you want. You decide, okay, I'm gonna do this every morning for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, however long you want to do it, and you sit down and you write for that 5 minutes and 10 minutes, and it allows you to get all the stuff out of your mind. And sometimes you're just like blah 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 blah. Just scribbling, but there's something about the release there that happens that once you close that timer goes off and you close that book, it's not a journal you go back to. It's not a journal you really try to document, your life or keep notes on things that you want to remember. It's just getting the chatter out. And for someone like me, it's been really helpful, really beneficial to do that. And sometimes I don't do it in the mornings. I miss it, but then like I'll get all chaotic during the day, and I'll sit down and I'll do that journal then. And it's just a nice exercise to bring yourself back to center and get all the stuff out. And you realize it's not as important as you thought it was. It's not as earth shattering or hard as you think.
You seem to have profound observation skills. Like and I'm curious about what you see about observing.
Oh, well, I don't know where this came from or really how it developed. But my dad's always said to be careful for your superpowers, and that thing is more like a joke at first, but I think that just the way I was raised and the life that I experienced growing up gave me just a lot of empathy for people and looking at people for where they're at and just loving them for where they're at. My mom would always say that Jason has the friends from all walks of life, from what you people would say the lowest of the lows or the highest of highs. He doesn't have judgment against anyone, and Um, and I've always just loved people, and there's just something about connecting with folks that is easy for me, and I see them, through a lens that there is no judgment. There's just love, and I don't know. When I was a kid, a teenager, I remember two things that I did. I would go over to this senior citizen's house and cook her dinner on Saturday nights, and kind of help her around the house a little bit before I could drive, and just being able to see the difference that I had in her life and just the little things that I could do was just really profound, and still sits with me. I don't know. There's just something about making this life a little bit easier for everybody that it just appeals to me, you know.
Well,
And
you go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm rambling a little bit, but go ahead. What was your question?
No, because one of the things when I met you, and I remember how every Thanksgiving, you create this care package for people on the street.
Right. Yeah. It's a little thing called Turkey Troops. And we started that 20 years ago. And a friend of mine's nephew was coming into town. And so I wanted to do something to kind of teach him what Thanksgiving's all about, or at least what I feel like it's about. And so we put together a group of friends, and we went and did a Meals on Wheels route. And we had so much fun doing that Meals on Wheels has particular recipients to their program. But as we were going out in San Francisco, there were just so many people out on the street that needed something. We didn't have anything for them. So the next year we added, meals of our own, so we could go to the Meals on Wheels and do meals of our own. And then the next year we did sweatshirts, and then the next year we started doing socks. And it's just an opportunity to the goal of the group is what we say is to live gratitude through a celebration, and to feed others before you feed yourself. And because Thanksgiving is so much about food and everything else. But there's an energy that comes from helping someone and just being there for someone and making people's life a little bit brighter, a little bit lighter. For me, it's just like a drug, it's just something that just I feed on. I don't know. It's nothing. I'm having a hard time talking about it because it's something I've never really thought about. It's just something that I do, it's easy for me.
I can feel the kindness and the generosity to humanity that you have.
Well, it's all about love.
Say more about that, because that's my jam. That's what I love.
Well, they say God is love, right? And what is God, right? Well, what I think God is, and what that statement means is, we put out an energy in everything that we do. Every action that we have it emits a signal out into the world, right? So if everyone in this world really embodied what it is to love everyone, love one another, that energy that would be put out by all of us is God.
Oh,
and that's where it lives,
I can feel the beauty of it. I mean, it's really funny that as an interior designer, interior designers create beautiful spaces. And that I'm in the gene keys and blah, blah, blah. And there's a gene key, the very first gene key, and it's about the formed world, and it goes from entropy to freshness. But the city of it, the ultimate, is beauty. And it's about this love pouring through us in the formed world. And so to me, it's like, here's this love that you have for humanity, but it's like a 2-for-1 with you. Because here's this pure energy of love that's formless, but it also gets to be in the formed world of beauty. And they talk about in this gene key and the beauty and the freshness, that it's all original. And that's the thing I know about you, is your designs. You're not a cookie cutter looking at magazines going, here, you come in and you see what's fresh and you imagine it. And I can see where it's coming from is this God's love.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the space, one thing that I imagine, the other thing that I do is I look at the way people are using their space.
Mhm.
So, after a project's done, I'll go back and look and see, where are they dropping the bath towel? Where are they sitting their stuff when they come in, the house? Like, where's one person sitting all the time? And then looking at that and tweaking that and making modifications to the way the house is laid out, is an important step of the whole process. So, there's a beauty aspect to it, but then there's also a behavior aspect to it, because you can walk into someone's house and know whether they are taking care of themselves or not.
Say more, give an example.
You can have a house where there's, husband and wife, and husband stuff's all pushed to one corner. It's contained in a certain area, and the rest of the house, the wife is, everything's kind of neat and orderly. Then you have the other thing that I see is that the one person is organizing for everyone, which means, that the other person is, their stuff's getting moved all the time, and and put in places that maybe doesn't work for them, which is kind of interesting. And offering people an opportunity to see that maybe they need a spot to just be themselves and to let their stuff be as it is, because we're all different and we all have different needs, and trying to help people live with that and understand that is nice. And it's not any fault, it's not that anyone doesn't care about their partner or husband or wife or whoever. It's that you get into a routine and it just becomes routine, and just having someone offer with a little bit of kindness and grace that, hey, can we look at this differently, just kind of opens the door a little bit and helps people work their own stuff out.
Oh my God, you're like we got to come up with a new name for you.
I know, right?
No, because what you're doing is, there's a new name. I don't know what it is. It's like you're a house magician.
Well, I don't know about magician, but I'm definitely a shepherd of good living.
Oh, I love that. That's beautiful. All right, so Jason, we're coming to the end of our time. How do people, if they're blessed enough to find you, where would they find you and connect with you?
Yeah, my website is www.jjtbd, which I'm interested that you didn't pick up on that one, but jjtbd.com. And
To be determined.
That is really the main reason for that. I have often used the business of design, but it's really to be determined. All of our lives, none of us know what's coming, and we just have to be open for it and let it happen.
Oh my God. Well, I love you, and I'm so grateful. And I really hope the right people who could benefit from your services find you, because I know that you're a gift.
They will. It always works out.
All right. I love you. Thank you.
I love you too.